South Africa woke up this morning to a political earthquake following the dramatic and highly secretive pre-dawn arrest of Economic Freedom Fighters, EFF, leader Julius Malema. The nation remains in disbelief, but the greater turmoil lies in the revelations about who allegedly ordered the arrest. According to several credible reports from diplomatic insiders, senior intelligence figures, and high-level political operatives, the move was not purely a domestic legal action. Instead, it appears to have been accelerated by direct pressure from the United Kingdom after an intense late-night diplomatic push in which British envoys reportedly demanded urgent measures against the outspoken opposition leader. The arrest, executed around 3 a.m., unfolded with near-military precision. Dozens of heavily armed elite South African law enforcement officers stormed Malema's upscale Hyde Park residence. Streets were quickly sealed off, surveillance drones hovered overhead, and communication signals in the area were allegedly jammed before the operation began. Within minutes, Malema was in custody without any public resistance. EFF sources later claimed that simultaneous arrests took place in other major cities, Pretoria, Bloemfontein, and Cape Town, suggesting that the operation was a part of a larger, coordinated plan executed under total secrecy. The fallout was immediate and fierce, plunging South Africa into what many now call one of its most severe political crises since the end of apartheid. Officials within the ruling African National Congress, ANC, government defended the arrest, asserting that Malema and several EFF leaders were being investigated for crimes including incitement to violence, corruption, and efforts to undermine state institutions. However, political analysts and critics have questioned both the timing and the motives behind the arrests. Many argue that these actions appear to be influenced more by foreign geopolitical interests than by South Africa's own legal processes. This isn't about justice, it's about consolidating power, declared a senior constitutional analyst during a heated live television debate. If it turns out the British government pressured President Cyril Ramaphosa to detain an opposition figure, then we are no longer speaking of law, we are witnessing neo-colonial interference. South Africa is not a vassal state. These sentiments have gained traction among citizens who already view President Ramaphosa as overly deferential to foreign powers. Once praised as a reformer promising to cleanse state institutions and restore democratic credibility, Ramaphosa is now facing mounting criticism for being hesitant, slow-moving, and too closely aligned with Western nations, particularly the United Kingdom and the United States. Accusations that his government only acts when pushed by external influences are not new, but this incident has given those suspicions an alarming sense of legitimacy. The EFF's reaction was swift and fiery. Speaking to the press outside the Hillbrow Magistrates Court, party spokesperson Sinobo Tambo denounced the arrest as nothing short of a coup, accusing foreign governments of orchestrating the move with the South African president as their instrument. The British Empire may have changed its flag, Tambo declared, but its colonial grip endures. They fear Julius Malema because he exposes the economic parasitism that still exists in our so-called post-apartheid reality. He threatens not only the ANC's corrupt elite but also the foreign financial interests that exploit this country. That is why they ordered his arrest, and why Cyril complied. He isn't a leader, he's a manager installed by the West. Tambo further alleged that the detention was intended to shape the political landscape ahead of the crucial 2026 general elections. Make no mistake, he added, this is about fear. They fear change, they fear a movement that can't be bought, and above all, they fear 2026. Inside the ANC, the arrest has reignited deep internal divisions that have been simmering for years. Members of the influential National Executive Committee, NEC, have publicly backed Ramaphosa, framing the arrests as necessary to preserve stability and uphold the law. Yet, others, particularly from the party's more radical and populist factions, have raised strong objections. One NEC member, speaking confidentially, said, "We've long suspected that President Ramaphosa waits for approval from London or Washington before taking decisive action. This incident doesn't just confirm those fears, it amplifies them in the most alarming way. We fought for liberation to govern ourselves, not so that former colonial powers could control us by remote. Reports suggest that the ANC leadership may soon convene an emergency meeting to address the fallout. Meanwhile, grassroots unrest is spreading, with provincial leaders from Limpopo, Eastern Cape, and KwaZulu-Natal demanding clarity on whether Ramaphosa acted independently or under foreign instruction. Key alliance partners like the Congress of South African Trade Unions, COSATU, and the South African Communist Party, SACP, have also expressed growing discomfort with what they describe as the externalization of national decision-making. Internationally, the controversy has drawn significant attention. In London, officials from the UK's Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, FCDO, have neither confirmed nor denied any role in the affair. A diplomatic source, speaking anonymously to The Guardian, stated, "We maintain a vested interest in ensuring democratic stability within key African partner nations. South Africa is a vital ally, and we remain committed to the rule of law, institutional governance, and regional peace." However, such broad statements have done little to ease public anger back in South Africa. Legal experts, human rights advocates, and civil society organizations have already called for a parliamentary inquiry into the arrest. Crowds of protesters have gathered outside foreign embassies and courthouses, chanting slogans like "A no to colonial puppets" and "A hands off our democracy." Meanwhile, Julius Malema remains behind bars, with his legal team urgently preparing a constitutional challenge to contest the legality of his detention. Given the immense political weight of the case, the matter is expected to move quickly through the courts, and analysts believe it could become one of the most pivotal legal battles in South Africa's modern democratic history. As the nation teeters on the edge of what some fear could become a full-blown constitutional crisis, South Africans are confronting profound questions. Has their democracy been compromised by foreign influence? Is their government truly acting in the nation's best interests, or merely executing orders from abroad? And perhaps most crucially, how will this moment reshape the political landscape ahead of the decisive 2026 elections? One truth stands above all: what began as a single police operation has erupted into a national reckoning, one that may determine not only the fate of Julius Malema but the very essence of South Africa's post-apartheid democracy.